Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 2021 Southeast Asia EdTech 50. My name is Maria Spies, and I'm the co-founder and co-CEO of HolonIQ. And I'm joined today by Alex. Alex is the CEO of EduSpace and knows everything there is to know about EdTech in Southeast Asia. So welcome, Alex.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Great. It's going to be a great session. We've got lots of people from all around the world registered for today. And not surprisingly, this is a really interesting part of the world as it relates to education and EdTech in particular. We're really proud to be announcing this year's list of the most promising EdTech companies across Southeast Asia. But let's just make a start in terms of the agenda. Firstly, for all those people who are joining us now or in a few minutes, as soon as the session finishes, you'll get a recording. It'll be sent to you directly, and so that'll come straight away. The session's around 45 minutes today. We're usually pretty much on time, and let's just make a start. So firstly, in the agenda, Alex is going to firstly take us through some ecosystem insights, what's happening in Southeast Asia, talk a little bit more about the work of EduSpace, and there's some, super insightful information I know that Alex has got to share. Then I will walk through the methodology and some background to the Southeast Asia EdTech 50 and announce the 50. But most importantly, probably, is hearing from some of the companies who are in this list and what they're doing, the traction they've had, the problems they're solving. Super interesting. And I'm looking forward to that part of the session specifically. For those of you who are not familiar with HolonIQ, we're an impact intelligence platform. We focused deeply in the area of education, of course, health and climate as well, across the impact sectors. We have a global team all around the world. The platform's got definitely the most comprehensive amount of data and market intelligence on the education sector. We have some fantastic customers, as you can see there, including those dotted around Southeast Asia. But let me hand over firstly to Alex to give us some insights into Southeast Asia EdTech.
Thanks, Maria. I'm sure all of you guys are very happy and excited to wait for the outcome of the top 50. But just bear with us for a few minutes. Let me just quickly share a little bit about EdTech in Southeast Asia. So before I start, maybe just a bit of background about what we do. So EduSpace is the first EdTech accelerator in Singapore, supported by the government agency Enterprise Singapore. And we invest and accelerate the growth of EdTech companies across the region. So we have a strong focus in Southeast Asia. On the right-hand side, you can see some of the EdTech startups that we have invested in. So other than investing in EdTech startups, we also help to build an ecosystem, the EdTech ecosystem across the region, across Southeast Asia. We now have a few hundred partners we work with, including universities, international schools, distributors, publishers, investors, and some multipliers. So we try to bring all the stakeholders together so that we can increase the engagement and to help the startups in the ecosystem have better access and to scale faster across the region. And if you look at Southeast Asia, it's an interesting, also slightly fragmented market. So ASEAN as a whole is the 5th largest economy globally, right? And it's projected to become the 4th largest economy by 2030. And if we just look at some of the stats, Southeast Asia has more than 400 million internet users in a fast-growing mobile-first region, with about 90% of the users being mobile first, right? And if you look at the EdTech investments in Southeast Asia, the average deal sizes are still slightly small. We see that the average seed round is about 800,000 to about, and Series A at about 3 million and Series B at about 5.5 million. So the sector is fairly nascent for investment, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. We also know that Rangguru did 150 million in 2019 for the Series C, and they have raised more than 200 million in all. But we also see that the tech startups in this region, in other sectors, have also raised much bigger rounds. So therefore, we think that there's huge potential going forward. And if you look at the past few years, we have also seen an increase in EdTech interest and the deal count. Although some of them are still, most of them are fairly early stage, but I think moving forward, there'll be more EdTech deals coming along as well. If you just look at the region over the last 20 months, as we all know, many schools in Southeast Asia has been shut more than they are open. About 135 million students have also been impacted and have lost access to education during this period. Right, and schools have been forced to close, but they have also adopted EdTech products to continue education. So kind of the good thing is that many of the stakeholders have actually crossed their initial EdTech adoption hurdle. Right, So once they've crossed that, I think it's a lot better for them to understand how to use EdTech to their advantage. And with the progressive recovery, which may take some time, I think that there's possibly higher dependency and stronger usage of EdTech products. So let's take a look at the landscape and possibly some opportunities across the ASEAN 6 markets. Indonesia, the largest market, highest potential, strong demand for digital skills training, and government are also pushing for vocational training. So there's also even a 1.5 billion subsidy given by the government to support that. And if you look at Vietnam, it's also estimated market for EdTech. It's at about 3 billion by 2023. And the demand and willingness for the people to pay for K-12 language learning EdTech products are fairly high. Interestingly, we understand that the household expenditure on education can be more than 40% of total household income. That's a big percentage, right? And the Ministry of Education and Training is also pushing very hard on the STEM training. And if you look at Malaysia, I think the money likely will come from private education. It's a developed sector there, and I think even across the region, it's probably only second to Singapore. And many of the locals are sending their kids to international schools, right? And I think more than 50% from the stats that we see of international students are actually local students. And if you look at Singapore, much smaller population, but the after-school tuition enrichment market is actually fairly sizable at about 1.4 billion. Government is also pushing very hard on skills upgrading. So there are opportunities for EdTech in these areas. And there is also a 10-year national EdTech plan, right? In that plan, includes devices, AI, data-driven, personalized learning, even study companion. So it's an extensive plan that's in place. And if we look at Philippines, it's probably one of the more affected countries. So affordability and willingness to pay also varies very widely in Philippines. But there's also slightly better adoption, I guess, more in the vocational and higher education space. And I think last week, the schools are just starting to open up, right? And last but not least, Thailand, again, disparity is quite big. The affluent locals can and actually will invest a lot in education and EdTech, but not everyone can afford to pay. So there's also some changes in the country where the ministry has announced plans to revamp the entire education system and making tech a priority, including making coding a mandatory subject in schools, right? And just based on our engagement and observations across Southeast Asia, we think quite a few things can likely happen in the sort of short to mid-term in the next few years. So we think that the global shift in remote working potentially can increase the demand for Southeast Asia tech talent, right? And especially the digital jobs are now more portable and with a lower cost base in Southeast Asia. This will likely increase demand in digital skills training, which is also very aligned with government policies for skills training and upgrading. With the rate of change and innovation at its peak, I think this is also a very urgent segment that potentially can happen. Across the rest of Southeast Asia, recovery may take some time, but I guess a good way to look at it could also be there's more time to use EdTech, more time for them to familiarize with EdTech and continue to have that usage to continue education, right? With a slower recovery, we think that education financing potentially can be very critical and important to schools and stakeholders, right? And therefore, one of the possible combinations that we are starting to see is sort of the hybrid between EdTech and FinTech, right? Products like this will start to emerge. And for sure, capital flow will continue to come into Southeast Asia. And I think overall, fairly good news for all the EdTech startups and investors in Southeast Asia. And so this is my last slide. I will probably stop here. If I may, Maria, just a short shout out for any of the EdTech companies that are interested in Cohort 4, applications are open now.
Thanks, Alex. Thank I'll pause on this slide for a minute because I think one of the important things in any ecosystem are ecosystem hubs that build and connect. And one of your slides, Alex, really resonated. EduSpace was in the middle, and they're all different types of connections that you make in the ecosystem. It's incredibly important to support that innovation. And there's lots of research around how innovative geographies or spaces, evolve. And those hubs and those you know, those sort of activities and so on that EduSpace does in the region is incredibly important. So, you know, congratulations on the work that you do in supporting EdTech and the outcomes of EdTech and education, I guess, in the region.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, so let's jump through to starting to look at the EdTech 50 in Southeast Asia. So firstly, I just wanted to give a bit of a background to the criteria. It's not all EdTech. The Southeast Asia EdTech 50 is focused on identifying those young and fast-growing innovative learning and upskilling all the way through from pre-K to workforce upskilling. Typically, not always, but typically we're looking at teams that are less than 10 years old. We are looking to identify those up and coming, sometimes not. Geography definitely headquartered in Southeast Asia. We do have the East Asia EdTech 150 and the India South Asia EdTech 100 to cover other parts of the region, the broader region. Definitely pre-exit, not acquired, not a subsidiary, you know, and so on. And then, you know, definitely not listed companies and stuff like that, or mature incumbents. So this is for startups, essentially, of all sort of sizes, I guess. The team at HolonIQ, the intelligence unit team, the analysts, work on 5 different criteria. And so when looking at and thinking about identifying 50, and I've got to say, it is hard to identify 50. There are literally hundreds and hundreds of teams doing amazing things. So it is pretty difficult. We may need to increase our number next year, Alex, for the Southeast Asia EdTech 100 or something, because there's so many. It's wonderful to see.
Yeah, I'm sure that number will really shoot up over the next 1 year.
Right, exactly. So they look at the market, so the sort of quality and attractiveness of the market in which the company operates. And that might be a vertical, it might be tutoring, or it could be assessment, or it could be digital content and so on. The product itself, its uniqueness, its impact, the team, diversity and expertise, capital. So that is the ability to attract capital externally, or the ability to generate resources, financial resources, and momentum, of course, the sort of positive changes in velocity and size and growth, etc. So they're the sort of 5 criteria that are looked at. And just, you know, congratulations to those teams who have made the list of this year's Southeast Asia EdTech 50. This is the list in front of you, the market map. And as you can see, there are different categories, our subsectors. So a really solid group in workforce and skills. Digital content and online learning has grown over the last year globally, as well as institutions from schools to universities and everything in between looking for good solutions for digital content. Tutoring and test prep, of course, is strong in the region. Learning environments have become very, very in demand over the last couple of years, particularly, and always strength in language learning and international ed, we can see, is really growing again. There's you know, we're expecting, as borders start to open globally, the sort of international education sector rising up very quickly. You know, everything dependent, of course, on different variants that appear in our world, but it looks likely that international education is really ready for a very big 2022. And management systems, and that's those it could be financing solutions like Alex was talking about, which you can see a couple there, or other platforms that support parent-teacher, parent-school communication, or timetabling, or student information systems, those sort of backbone technologies in the management system. So again, congratulations to those teams that are in this 50 list. Let me move on to some analysis that we've done of these teams and of this whole list over the last week or so. Firstly, it's just almost a perfect, third almost, in terms of workforce, K-12 and higher ed, which is really interesting because in other parts of the world, we do see a skewing to either K-12 or typically more in workforce. So these are EdTechs in this list of 50 where they mainly operate, essentially. And so, almost 40% in workforce, 28% in higher education, and that's a much bigger proportion than most other places in the world. You see, it's really, really great to see a focus of technology on the higher ed space. But that's a little, it's a little unusual in that this is a part of the context for Southeast Asia, and then of course really strong and growing K-12. And if we just sort of compare that to last year's cohort, we see that the K-12 has grown. That's not surprising, because governments, schools, and parents are really looking for solutions, especially in the B2B section from schools and school systems. And so we see a growth in that sort of focus on the K-12. Those EdTechs focusing on K-12. Moving to the business model, direct to consumer is over half, and again, the B2B is a really high proportion compared with other geographies, where you see in some other geographies you might see 10 or 11 or 12% B2B. This is a quarter. So a quarter of EdTechs in this list are selling essentially to corporates or institutions, either at K-12 or higher ed. And so that's really interesting, and I think is wonderful, because what it shows is a good sort of collaboration between what you might call the formal education sector, traditional education sector, and technology solutions. I think that's a really great thing, and that's pretty similar to last year in terms of its proportions. And then we move to the age of the cohort, and there's some differences from last year. 50% of this crew are in what we call the growth phase, 4 to 6 years old. And when COVID started, it was very difficult for EdTechs who hadn't yet quite got product market fit or didn't have any customers, very difficult for them to take off in the middle of COVID. But for those who already had product market fit, who were 1 or 2 years old maybe, who already had customers, they were just inundated with requests, and we saw them grow very quickly. And I think that's what we're seeing here. Alex, I'm interested in you support early stage startups, so I'm really interested in your comments on this. But essentially a huge spike, in the 4 to 6 year old, and it'd be great to see the future growth of those under 3-year-old teams as well.
Yeah, I think definitely it's a space that we are tracking and we are looking at, and I also think that we should kind of hope and encourage more of the under 3 years company to have that development path. In the space that we invest in, most of the companies, I would say more than 50%, are actually in the 4 to 6 years, or 3 to 6 years. Yeah. So because we kind of need them to have good, solid product with strong monetization model and ready to scale up, right? If they are too early in the first year or so, they may not be ready for that regional growth. Yes.
So these stats are from the 50, not from the whole population of EdTech in Southeast Asia. But they are one of the criteria is growth, and I think momentum. And so it's really interesting to see that such a huge proportion is in that 4 to 6 year old. I do think that it's got to do with what's been happening over the last couple of years, and so super interesting there. And then just digging down from the higher ed K-12 workforce down one level, where are they really focusing and operating? So 24%, a quarter essentially in the workforce and skills space, 20% in digital content and online learning, and there has been a huge growth in digital content demand over the last couple of years, and teams really stepping up into that. Language learning, international education, 20%, management systems. It's a fairly balanced picture actually, but we have seen, you can see on the left-hand side between the 2020 and the 2021 cohort, there's been a reduction in those proportion essentially of workforce and skills, as other areas, language learning, international education, and digital content and so on have been moving. So, some just around the edges, but a really balanced group. And then finally, in terms of the split in geography, not surprisingly, Indonesia and Singapore are the greatest, but they're sort of fighting it out for the number one between last year and this year. I mean, Singapore, now these are Singapore-based. Now, often, of course, those teams service the whole region, but based in Singapore. And this year, almost half based in Singapore, but probably, mostly servicing the whole region. And then 30% based in Indonesia, and the Indonesia story is fantastic over the last 5 or so years to see what's been happening there. Both Indonesia and Singapore, you see very strong government support and good policy frameworks and other sort of incentives and so on to support EdTech growth. And it's a great also to see, of course, Thailand, Malaysia, Philippines, and Vietnam in that picture as well. Any comments on that, Alex? Is that surprising to you, or does this look like about right?
Yeah, not too surprising. I think it's the dynamics will start to shift, hopefully, right? With some of the countries having more EdTech, but I think as at now, because it's fairly nascent, companies that kind of want to look at a regional may domicile in Singapore. So whether or not they're Singapore, or they are registered here, I guess then that's another layer. But generally, I think the chart looks right for now, and we'll see how it shifts over the next few years.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, so back to the 50. You'll get a recording of this, of course, and it'll be on our website tomorrow or tonight. So you'll be able to look that up and download the map and so on. But most importantly, really, let's hear from some of the teams who are on the ground making a big impact in EdTech and in education in the region. So our 4 speakers today, we're starting off with Jamie Tan, who's the founder and director of FlyingCamp. I can see Jamie. Hi, you're already on stage. And then followed by Nilesh Bhatta. Nilesh is the co-founder and CEO of ACAD Asia, and that's the Freeju sort of technology. So we'll hear from Nilesh next. And then after that, Alamanda Santoso. Alamanda is the president director of Binar Academy. Super interesting team out of Indonesia, and so Alamanda will join us third, and then finally, but not last but not least for sure, Rohan Pasari, who's the co-founder and CEO of Kialfo, and also a really solid team and very interesting. So I should have opened the photos first. But there you go. Let's start with Jamie. Welcome, Jamie, and congratulations on making the list. I know that you're going to share your screen and tell us all about FlyingCamp.
Will do. Let me start by sharing my screen.
Awesome.
Can you see it?
Can do.
Great. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for the opportunity to share. My name is Jamie, and I am the founder of FlyingCamp. I will start this morning's presentation addressing the key pain point that we see in the education landscape today. When you see the conventional blackboard, it may transport you back to your younger days in school. In the same classroom, why do we have very different learning results? And how big is this problem exactly? A poll done in 2015 indicated that 66% of learners are not learning effectively. Many learners experience such great pain in school that most either lose confidence or the interest in learning altogether. Why is this so? Traditionally, the world thinks that there is only one way to learn, but we now know that everyone is smart in their own way and learns differently. But how do we discover our learning style and find the right education that fits our needs? Well, the truth is that a large proportion of people today still don't know, and many still make education choices based on word of mouth or what is most convenient. In the post-COVID world, with the proliferation of the newest and greatest EdTech products out there, choosing becomes even more complicated for the learner. Quoting HolonIQ's 2030 report, recently estimated that the global education marketplace is expected to grow 30% year on year and hit 10 trillion USD by 2030. On the supply side, even with the acceleration that has been brought about with COVID, more needs to be done to balance out the demand and supply scale to meet global learners of tomorrow. Well, FlyingCamp has been working on this problem since 2015. From research to result, we aim to help learners discover their best way of learning and translate that discovery to actionable decisions that can be made in the real world. We are here to make learning smart. Advisor is an aggregator service that is built specifically for education and serves learners of all ages. We take the best of research and connect the dot to real-world options. On the platform, we provide a tested and proven recommendations and tracking engine that helps to adapt, optimize, and personalize one's learning journey. And all of this needs to be done effectively and efficiently so that we can help to maximize results for the learner as well as the educator. Working with professors from esteemed universities, such as Dr. Paul Kim of Stanford, we ensure that our technology is validated, remains relevant for today while supporting the needs for tomorrow. While many EdTech companies are working on perfecting their content or delivery in a particular niche area, we are working to ensure that learners can choose the best product or services that fit their needs. This is something that's so important and yet was never approached in this way before. And here's how we do it on the platform. In a 5-step approach, we start by helping learners understand their interests, strengths, and unique learning profiles. We then connect the dots in 2 ways. Together with our education advisors, we ensure that the platform, which is based on the FlyingCamp Compass Map, establishes a clear pedagogical approach to drive future of learning. We also work hard on onboarding the widest range of high-quality products, services, and offerings from all over the world. By equipping educators with a framework that allows them to map their offerings to our strength-based assessment, we pave the way for the magic of smart recommendations to happen. Harnessing the power of technology to help personalize learning for each individual, we continuously track progression and outcomes, helping our learners develop confidence and interest towards lifelong learning. So allow me to take you one level deeper on what a typical user experience is like. The user enters the platform and chooses from a library of diagnostic assessments designed for different purposes, from text-based to gamification options for the young to the adults. All of this can be easily accessed on the platform. Next, onboarded educators tag the offerings based on our inbuilt wizard, and users can then search for classes based on the same mapping. All of this is happening as our AI technology works behind the scene to determine the order of how search results are shown. Need some ideas on what else to learn? On the dashboard, each user has their own carousel of recommendation on what's next to explore based on their specific profiles. And because nothing is ever set in stone, users will get continued support and guidance as they provide the engine with additional inputs to optimize further recommendations for them. To prove to you that this works, let me share the impact that Advisor has had so far to the community. With over 1,000 partners, 12 distribution channels, 500,000 users, and 50 corporate clients, our children and adult finance marketplace is currently the largest in Southeast Asia. From preschools to adults, Advisor's modular design has proven to robustly meet the needs of each market, regardless of age group. And today, FlyingCamp Advisor is being used in 39 countries all over the world, and we continue to explore ways to further value add into the ecosystem. So thank you for your time for this short sharing today. We welcome you to get in touch so that we can strive to make learning smarter together. Thank you.
Jamie, thank you so much. One of the big problems with education all around the world is its fragmentation. And so, you know, everyone's different and they want different things. And so it's wonderful to see a technology and a solution that supports the sort of personalization from both sides. So congratulations so far on your traction. It's wonderful.
Thank you, Maria.
And welcome, Nilesh. Nilesh Bhatta is the co-founder and CEO of ACAD Asia, and Freeju is the technology, the solution that you're going to be talking through today. Congratulations on making it to the list. Are you going to share your screen? Would you like me to?
I can share the screen. Thanks, Maria, for the invitation. And yeah, thank you very much. Let me just share my screen.
Perfect.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, can do.
Okay, awesome. Great. So hi, good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here today. My name is Nilesh. I'm the co-founder and CEO of ACAD Asia. We're a Singapore-based mission-driven business, and Freeju is our flagship product. Educators globally are pretty much stressed, and in fact, a lot of this stress over the last couple of years comes from the fact that a lot of them are teaching online without really having the expertise to do so. As such, 60% of them at least need training. And in fact, they don't have access to relevant, affordable, and/or localized training. Some of the existing teacher training methods and materials are outdated, and teacher training is generally expensive and unscalable. To add to the problems, most educators find that their salaries have actually dropped by almost 4.5% over the last decade after inflation. And as such, most of them are always looking for opportunities to generate an additional income on the side. Or they're quitting. And this is a global phenomenon. It's happening pretty much all around the world. And this is exactly where we come in. And Freeju provides 21st century education to educators. We help increase the supply of trained educators, and we help educators improve their income. And currently, we have more than 130,000 teachers on the platform. On the platform, the teachers access 3 specific things. First and foremost, they access something called Collab Ed, which is like LinkedIn for teachers, so that they can build their own international community of teaching practice. They can share ideas, collaborate, and learn and support each other. For more formalized professional development content, they access something called SkillEd, which is like Netflix, but for teachers. Here, they can build their own personalized learning pathways to learn about pedagogical, technical, and soft skills, all related towards 21st century education and future of work. And of course, if you've ever done an online course, you know generally how boring they can be. So to kind of change that, to also show the teachers how they can actually design more engaging content, we also give them access to something called DesignEd, which is a suite of third-party tools which have been integrated directly within the Freeju environment, which allows teachers to learn about how to use those tools and also, more importantly, embed those tools within their own instructional design and build engaging courses for their learners. Moreover, for education institutions, we also provide blockchain certificate issuance as a service. Our revenue model is pretty simple. We have a wide range of ways to monetize, and the business is quite sustainable and scalable. And the teachers actually love us for three specific reasons. First and foremost, we provide them with a very secure platform to learn. We do a KYC and make sure that the teachers signing on do verify their profiles. The platform is fairly affordable. It's only $20 per year for full access to the platform for B2C customers. And it is localized. Courses are available in English, Bahasa Indonesia, Hindi, Filipino, and Vietnamese. And we also understand a lot of teachers in this region may not have access to credit cards, so they can make payments by cash. As a result of this, our NPS has been consistently hovering around 99 to 99.6%. And we've grown by 40 times in the last 12 months. We are driven by impact. We firmly believe in the values of SDG 4.C, 4.4, and 4.3. And recently, we got certified for quality education by Education Alliance Finland as well. So yeah, please do reach out to us if you're either an investor. We are looking to raise a seed round at the moment, or content partners. If you have teacher training programs and you feel that other teachers can benefit from this, please do reach out to us. Or any EdTech partner out there who wants to reach out to the Southeast Asian teacher market, please reach out to us. We can actually look at integrating the technology directly within Freeju. We are a multinational team, 18 people across 6 countries. And once again, we are not a single app. We are an entire ecosystem which connects and provides a unique value to teachers and schools all around Asia. And finally, towards the end, just a question for you to think about: how will you secure your child's future if you choose to leave your child's teacher in the past? Thank you very much.
Nilesh, thank you so much. I mean, you've really hit on something very important. You know, as you know, HolonIQ tracks market developments in education all around the world. And the issue with teacher shortages is truly almost a crisis in so many parts of the world. Developed countries, developing countries, it's really, really, really a big problem. And so countries are doing all sorts of different things. But the other thing that we do is we survey education leaders from all parts of the world. And the biggest issue they have is supporting capability development, especially now with digital. Supporting teachers in terms of capability, because if you don't have a capable and digitally, you know, supported workforce, then really there's going to be trouble ahead. So it's a very, very worthwhile thing that you're doing, and obviously making a huge impact. So congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thanks for selecting us to be on the top 50 as well. Thank you.
Congratulations. And now we move to Alamanda Shantika. Alamanda, welcome. And
Hi, Maria.
Hi, you're the President Director of Binar Academy, which we've been watching for a while now. We think you're amazing, doing really interesting things, and looking forward to hearing all about Binar Academy. Let me share your presentation.
Sure, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Yeah, great.
All right. Yeah. Hi, everyone. Hi, Alex. So I joined EduSpace, the 2 last cohort. So anyone who want to join EduSpace, just click the sign up button and join right now. So yeah, it's very recommended. So yeah, hello again. My name is Alamanda Shantika, and I'm from Binar Academy. And we all know that the future is not tomorrow, but it's today. So we're inventing the future through digital education and technology. And so we built an end-to-end platform for upskilling, seamless hiring, and managing talents. Will help individuals and enterprises to thrive in this digital transformation era. So yeah, Binar Inception started when we are the three co-founders met when we work at Gojek. I was one of the co-founding team in Gojek at the very early days, and we struggled to find the right digital talents at that time, especially in Indonesia. That's when we realized that there's a huge digital skills gap. So we decided to leave Gojek and then build Binar Academy in 2017. And we're also backed by series of experienced impact investors. And yeah, being in the education sector was my biggest dream since I was a kid, because I hated school back then, but I always loved learning. So I always think a lot about how to make people to falling in love with learning, because I always believe that we are all natural learners. And also the Indonesian education system failed to produce graduates who have the hard skills and soft skills needed in this digital era. And the content are not up to date as fast as the technology advances. The learning experience is so outdated, and yet higher education is very expensive. Only 35% high school students can go to the university in Indonesia. So yeah, we create this solution. We are an industry-driven curriculum. We create an innovative approach to learning, edutainment, and giving accessibility to everyone in Indonesia. And our vision is to be the leading content and service provider for digital upskilling and recruitment across Southeast Asia. So our students not only get hired with Indonesian company, but also in Singaporean company. And we want to produce 10 million digital leaders by 2030. And yeah, these are a little bit about our products. So we have 5 different products. We have the freemium model, we have Binar Go, which are our on-demand bite-sized content, and we have Binar Insight, the webinar live discussion. Binar Bootcamp is more onto like the intensive program, and also Job Connect to connect our graduates to the workforce. And these are the courses that we have. We have a variety courses from business digital mindset, and we also just launched our business intelligence course and business analytics. So in terms of like the market that we're tapping, so as you can see here, the employee and career shifters is the biggest chunk, since we also see like the career has been switched to digital. That's why we have a lot of career switcher here. People from like journalists want to shift into the digital talent. And we also have the B2B and B2B2C business model. So that's why we have the institutional clients as well, and also our hiring partner. And yeah, a little bit about the COVID experience in our company. So the COVID validated our plan to expand digitally, because before Binar was 100% offline, but since COVID, we turned everything online. And as a result, our app users grew 12 times from 2019 to 2022, from only 19,000 users to 180,000 users. So yeah, and I think the growth that we made in Binar is above average than Southeast Asia average install growth, which only grew by 3 times. So a little bit about our women participation. we never have like a special women program, but as you can see here, what we did is we keep growing our female facilitators to show them that female can also be in the digital sector. Right now, we have 46% female facilitators, and our students grew by 15% in 2017 to 39%, and our goal is up to 49% by next year. And again, we believe leading by example attracts more women to enter the workforce, thus supporting the gender equality. And internally, BINAR has 67% board of director, women board of director, and our female managers is 38%. And interestingly, our biggest revenue contributor, the team consists of 70% of female. So yeah, I think that's all from me. And we're also racing for our next Series A round next year. So let's get in touch with us. Thank you so much to make a bigger impact for the Southeast Asia.
Thank you, Alamanda. That's fantastic. Wonderful. I love to see those, I guess, unprompted statistics about what's happening and supporting women in, especially in tech skills. Again, one of those other huge global problems that we see. So congratulations. That's absolutely fantastic. And as you say, leading by example. So yeah, congratulations on not only making the list, but actually for the impact and the growth and all the things that you're doing in the region. Congratulations. Great. And over to our final speaker for the day, Rohan Pasari. Rohan, welcome.
Hi, Maria. Hi, everyone. Good morning or good evening, wherever you are.
Wherever you are, there's people from all around. Yeah, that's right. Rohan is the co-founder and CEO of Kialfo. Let me just share your presentation, Rohan, so you can get us all up to speed with what's happening for Kialfo. Let me just share that presentation. There you go. So over to you.
Awesome. First of all, it's an honor to be on the prestigious 50 list for HolonIQ's Southeast Asia startups, second year in a row. And thanks for having me here. So Kialfo started really as an inspiration of my own journey as an international student. I grew up in India, and really navigating through the college application process taught me like how daunting it was, not only for me but for millions of students globally. When I was in high school, I did not know what I wanted to study, where I wanted to study. And the running joke in India is that if you're not sure what you want to do, you take up engineering, and then you figure out what you want to do with your life. So that's what I did. But even figuring out where I wanted to study was incredibly taxing for a 16-year-old, 17-year-old. So while I was navigating through that process, a couple of leading institutions in Singapore, NUS and NTU came to my high school, presented their institutions. And really, Singapore was not really in my radar at the time. I was looking at American colleges, which was incredibly expensive, and others in the UK. And I applied. I got a full scholarship, and I came to NTU. And I had a great education experience. And I also realized how much of a multi-generational impact education has on the lives of people. Think about it. You really don't choose which country you're born in, which family you're born in, and you don't really choose which high school you would go to, right? Parents make that choice for you in most cases. But the first choice that you get as a young adult is which college you would go to. And we believe making an impact in that space, making that accessible, can go a long way in changing the world. So this is the area that we focus in the transition from high schools to universities. We also realized, thanks to HolonIQ's great statistics around market development, that this is a huge industry. This is a $400 billion industry, but if you break it down into what is really accessible to Kialfo, our math told us it is around $40 billion. So a huge industry. But within this massive higher ed ecosystem, the process is really broken. We spoke about me where I did not have access to the right information. Even though I grew up in the world of internet, you don't know what you don't know. But K-12 schools don't have sufficient resources either. I went to a school which did not have college counselors. 99% of schools around the world don't have college counselors. And universities around the world are also unable to recruit students efficiently, right? NUS and NTU came to my high school. They can't be going to every high school around the world. And even in a non-pandemic world, they can't be visiting all high schools. Now, with the pandemic and border closures, they can't be visiting any high schools around outside of Singapore. So what we did was we created this SaaS-enabled marketplace to drive this ecosystem. What does it mean? So we started off, we launched in 2018, about 3.5 years back, a SaaS platform for high schools to allow their students and college counselors to navigate the application process for students from high schools to universities. Now, in that, we work with over 1,200 high schools around the world. And most of those high schools are in Southeast Asia, India, China. So you're right, Maria, that we're a Singapore headquartered company, but we serve the region, but actually we serve the world. We have students coming from 100+ countries, but again, the concentration is very high in Southeast Asia, India, and China. These students use a platform to navigate the college application process. Now, on the other side of this SaaS-enabled marketplace, we have universities that use a platform to recruit and connect with students on our platform. And these are universities in the US, UK, Canada, Australia. Again, we have universities from 50 different countries, but the concentration is very high from 4 universities in these 4 countries. So what does the platform actually do for these students? The students start with career exploration, university research, but and then they can engage with these universities. This is something that we've had since we started, but this year we launched a platform that allows students not only to search but also apply to these universities right from the platform. So instead of going into different application systems and applying to universities in Australia in their system, and then Canada, and then US, they can do all of that in CAlpha itself. So cutting down the middlemen, cutting down the agents, the risk of bias influence, giving the power back to the high school, giving the power back to the college counselors and the parents. So connecting really the students and the universities directly. The experience that I got, I trusted NUS and NTU because they came to my high school and the principal introduced me. So how do we do that at scale? It was a question that we're answering through CAlpha's direct apply. And these are just some statistics: 1,200 high schools, 250,000 students using a platform. We now have 1,000 university relationships, really solid dollar retention. And actually, this number has gone slightly higher, where we have 60% market share in key regions. Now, market share, the way we define it, is schools that use a college counseling solution use CAlpha. And again, our ARR has been growing pretty rapidly as well, which has allowed us to raise a few institutional rounds. So we've completed an A round and a B round that we haven't announced yet. That would be announced in the coming weeks. So it's been pretty exciting so far, but that's also just scratching the surface. We believe we've achieved only 5% of our vision. If you see here in the university search and the university application domain, we'll be entering into micro-credentials, education financing, the payment gateways, either through ourselves or through partnerships, and really increasing access to education, which is a mission. So we started with search, application, but then financing is a key element. Again, I could come to Singapore because I got a scholarship, and that is a key part to making education accessible. So here we are, incredibly excited for the journey ahead. And thank you, everyone, for listening. And thank you, Maria, for having us here.
Rohan, thank you so much. That was really interesting and instructive. There were a whole bunch of things I didn't know in there. And I love the idea of really this is just the beginning of your achieving your vision, because students, as we said in a previous presentation, there's so many students who have their own needs and wants, but they don't know, and lots of options open to them, but it's a fragmentation issue. And so how do you provide them with a great experience that opens their eyes to different things and so on? So the whole sort of digital experience is just, it's expected in many industries. And so education now through these types of solutions is sort of catching up to that, which is wonderful. And, you're obviously hugely successful, and looking forward to watching you as you continue to grow. Is there one more slide you've got there?
No, that was just one of the hidden slides about the international student mobility. Most of this data is from HolonIQ.
Wonderful. And 2022, as I said, is going to be pretty huge for international education once again. And so all eyes are on different parts of the world to see how that unfolds. But congratulations on your traction and the solutions you're providing and the services you're providing to students and to learners. So well done.
Thank you. That's very kind.
Wonderful. So we're almost at the end of our session today. Let me just jump back into our presentation. So I want to thank all the presenters today, and Alex, particularly thank you for your insights into the Southeast Asia market. And it's just so wonderful to hear from those who are leading teams who are making a difference all around the region. For those of you who are interested in diving more deeply into the EdTech, the Southeast Asia EdTech 50 and any other of our lists, of course, our HolonIQ platform has got all the data there. So please connect up with us. As I said in the beginning, any of you who've registered, you will get this recording in the next 5 or so minutes. But thank you so much, everyone. And Alex, a special thank you for joining and providing those insights.
Thank you, Maria. Thanks for putting all this together. And congrats to all the teams as well.
Wonderful. Thanks, everyone, and have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.